Yeah, I'm lucky enough, the area I live in, there's a wildlife refuge and a bird sanctuary, and you can really enjoy the wildlife here. I just want to show you some sandhill cranes. They're walking out here close to the houses right now. We get hundreds of different types of birds here, but they have an island out here. It's a refuge, and they protect the sandhill cranes. And we get a lot of they bring in sandhill cranes and pelicans, and of course we got a lot of hawks and bald eagles and whatnot out here. But the lake bed's dried up a little bit. I think I'm gonna walk down here for just a few minutes. As you can tell, the water's way down. Some cranes flying now. Got more cranes out here. Try to zoom in, but my camera gets a little shaky when I zoom. Plus my hands are not the most steady in the world anyway. Yeah, but this is one of my favorite times of the year to go exploring, when the riverbeds are down, because they've got the dam closed up. There's some smaller birds and stuff out swimming in the water playing. I can't really see that far, but it's probably ducks, geese, something smaller out there. This is the area though that I grew up in. And well, I lived here as a teenager. In my younger years, we lived in another city, but it's only like a 10-minute drive from here. But my teenage years, this is where I lived, and I would fish this river daily, especially when my father was sick. My house is about it's about a 10-minute drive from here also, but when my father was sick, I moved back in with my parents just to help take care of him, because he was not in great health, and so I just came and stayed here. But every night after work, you know, while he was asleep or something, I would come out here and fish, because when in the summertime, the water, of course, comes all the way up here. As you can tell, it is very windy today. I don't know what's up with this wind, but it's just craziness. But yeah, just wanted to walk out here a little bit while the water's low, very low. Just show you guys some of the sandhill cranes that we have in the area. It truly was a blessing growing up in Appalachia, Southeast Tennessee. Alright, I'm going to get in my truck and drive. I think I'm going to drive over to a spot that I've been with you guys before. It's where I had my biggest encounter with the big man. So we're going to drive out there while we're in this area. And I've got a little time. So let's drive away. Here is just so much fun. Just enjoy the wildlife out here. You know, I'm not a hunter, but there's just thousands and thousands of deer out here, and bobcat, fox, coyotes, of course the sandhill cranes like I just showed you, eagles, hawks. I'm not really a bird watcher, but it's fun to watch them come in, and the pelicans are new to us, you know, because I never knew of seeing pelicans until recently, but they've started migrating here at certain times of the year. And like I said, there is a wildlife refuge. It's an island in the middle of the Tennessee River, and then on the opposite side of this, it's like I said, it's a protected wildlife refuge, and they grow cornfields for the birds. So you see a lot of the sandhill cranes and the pelicans and the other type birds. Of course, the eagles and hawks, and a lot of deer. Well, the deer love to go out there and eat the corn also. But this is an old ferry, and when I was growing up, the only way to get across the river is by these ferries, which they've built a bridge now, so the ferry's a thing of the past. But we had two of them here in my town, actually three. But two that we used quite often. And yeah, it was a different time. You know, it was the times before cell phones and whatnot. But coming up on the old ferry now. There's a graveyard there on my left. Out here's where I had my big encounter. A few different instances, and it all happened in a few weeks time period where I was experiencing some very strange phenomena. And over there is where the bridge was built that took the place of the ferry. And at the other ferry, there's a bridge over there also. And now this area is used, there's a boat ramp and a lot of fishermen out here. It's just used as a recreational fishing area. But back when I was growing up, and after the ferries stopped being in use and the bridge was built, no one came out to this area hardly. It was they would lock it up at night. They had a gate that they would close up. It wasn't just at night. Most of the time they'd leave it up all day, and you just couldn't get in here because this is part of the wildlife refuge. And yeah, like I was saying, most of my teen years, you know, we'd come out here and just walk around this old refuge. And back then there was a lot more vegetation and trees over here that they've cleared some of it out. Well, the waters have cleaned with when they open the dam, the waters come all the way up to this put this camera, come all the way up to this these cypress trees and whatnot. And we've cleared a lot of the trees and stuff out. But yeah, I had a couple major encounters over here. And I think I've told the story before. I'm not sure if I have on this my new YouTube page here, but yeah, like I said, these little islands, because I'm actually on an island now. You have to cross over, but you can only get over here when the water is down, unless you're on kayak. And I have kayaked over here several times, and you can see some sandhill cranes in front of me. But my wife and I started coming out here. I was injured at my past job. I was injured, and I was on a leave of absence for 2 years. Well, yeah, for right about 2 years. And so during that 2 years, I'd spend just about every night coming out here. And just watching the wildlife. I've got some night vision and stuff that I would come out here and watch the wildlife at night. And I'm not trying to scare you guys, I promise. I'm just trying to show you on video. But anyway, I'd walk out here at night and with my night vision and just watch the wildlife. Yeah, I'm not trying to scare the cranes, but they spook pretty easy. But anyway, at one point I was out here, and it was just me and my wife. We were walking up through here, and we found a pretty good track print, a line of tracks around through here. And just a little bit further, and I can show you where. But there's a chain of small islands out here, and as you can see, it is sandy, but it's very rocky also. So not many things would be walking barefoot out here. I'm sure there are, you know, I'm not saying that nobody goes barefoot out here, but we actually, I've got photos of them on some other social sites, but we actually found some big track prints that were about between 14-15 inches long. And they did have a metatarsal break, which humans do not. And unfortunately, at that time, I was not very good at casting. But as you can tell, you know, something steps here, something heavy is going to leave a footprint. Like you can see, if you, like, there's where I just walked and left a shoe print there. And it left some small indentions. But I'm 176 pounds. There's where I just stepped, and I almost stepped hard. I just thumped the ground. I'm sorry for my shadow. That's as deep as my shoe went. The prints we were finding were, you know, 3, 4, 5 inches deep, and they went on There's somebody's shoe. You never know what you're going to find on the riverbeds. But anyway, we're almost there. We followed the track prints on through here. So I'm walking the path that we were following the prints. And we took several photos of them. But we got right up to this next tree here. It's on the back side. Right here at this tree, and I also have pictures of it. And all this was, foliage wasn't on the ground. It was just sand up here. But right here by this tree is where the footprints led, and it looked like a gigantic butt print sitting right here by this tree. Like something had just been sitting here, or it could have been something just laying here, but it looked like the perfect butt print right here at this tree. And then we found a couple more prints right up in here, and then they went up into this foliage. But after that night, I started coming out here every single night. Sometimes by myself, sometimes with my wife. And one night we were walking up where we pulled in at, just on the road there. And we just got out and we just walked up and down the banks using the night vision. And we caught some eye shine with the night vision in the tree line at the beginning of this. And I snapped a picture of it with the night vision, and it's on my, I believe it's on my Facebook page where you can see it, an eye shine. And then I took a picture with my cell phone using the nighttime feature on the phone. And I got what looked like a face. Not saying it was, I'm just saying it looks like a face looking at us. And where the face was at, something was grunting at us, and it sounded almost like a pig, like a large pig. But this thing, the face was about 6.5 feet off the ground. But it was grunting at us, sounding like a pig. And then she walked closer to this side as I walked on down that way. And then I heard her yelling, something swimming. And I came around down to this corner, this edge over here, and there was something swimming from this island over to that island over there. And it was very large. But like I said, it was nighttime. But it was definitely large enough to be it was larger than a human. But it was swimming from this island to the one across the slough over there. But all that land over there, and all these little islands, these chain of islands here, are all part of the Hiwassee Refuge. And they're protected, and those islands and those woods and stuff over there, there's a few trails, but most of the areas are off limits, especially over there on the islands. I mean, you can usually kayak out to them and nobody's going to say anything to you, but they encourage you not to go out there. But with that being said, that was another night, and I continued to come out here night after night. And I found some more tracks, and then I would come out here about midnight every night because, like I said, I was injured and off work and on a leave of absence. And me and my wife and son came out here, but we were telling my son about some of the stuff that we'd been seeing, and he wanted to come with us. And we were walking, and I'm sorry, I stopped to show you guys the cranes, some more sandhill cranes. A group of hundreds of them over there, some flying. It's a very, very, very windy day. But anyway, I continued coming out here. And then one night, okay, when they opened the dam, like I said, all this is covered in water. Like, this is just completely water. And there are a lot of fishermen come out here. You know, and they fish around these cypress trees and around in this area. But I'm taking you towards the location where I had the sighting. But at any rate, what I was getting at, me and my son came out here with us one night, and we started hearing a group of coyotes, and you know, and it was they were coming from over in these woods here, and right after we heard the coyotes, we were walking down that, as you can see in front of me, that road up there, and we were walking down the road and got to about where my red truck is, and there's a tree on the other side of that, and something screamed that sounded, the only way I could describe it, it sounded like a banshee. Screamed so loud, which, it, you know, bobcats make some sounds, but I've heard bobcats. Some little raccoon tracks. A lot of little footprints. Possums and raccoons love this little slough. But when we heard the banshee sound, my wife looks at me and says, "Now that sounds like a Bigfoot," because she's a skeptic. She's very skeptic. And but she said, "No, that sounded like a Bigfoot," and it was a pretty chilling sound, to say the least. And but I continued coming out here every night. Like I said, sometimes by myself, sometimes with others. Deep impression there. Little track line, but that people walk over here now, so definitely has some shape of some toes right there. Wow. You see this? This is the heel right here, and the toes up here. To give you an example of that, I wasn't expecting this. Wish I had my plaster with me. I wear size 12s. My heel is even with this heel. There's my toes, there's its toes. So 12-foot shoe, so that was that. I put my foot in it since I don't have my casting materials. My heel is on this heel. The toes, another, what, 2-3 inches from me. I'm gonna pause a second and take a picture of this. Okay, I'm back. I took a few pictures of this because I don't have any casts and stuff with me. But you can see, of course I did step inside here, but there is a distinct heel here and distinct toe marks. Like I said, I wear a size 12 and that thing dwarfs my foot. I was planning on just doing a walk, but I'm getting a little muddy now because see where this it's definitely going this way. Another indentation there. 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 Something definitely moved through here. So. All these tracks. Okay, I've lost them. So I definitely went up into these weeds. Right here. Yeah, something's definitely went through right here. Crazy. I was just here to gab. Actually find something. Wait a minute. There we go. It's definitely going in and out. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you can see how they're broken. It's about 4 foot. They're breaking, so they're probably in there. Broken. This is nose level with me. This one about my forehead level. Yeah, something definitely disturbed going through here. A lot of these are broken. And down through here, this big patch of it broken. But I'm not crawling my boat way back through there. Oh. Well, that was kind of unexpected. But anyway, to get back to the story, right up here, the water was up. I was coming out, it was probably March, mid-March, mid to late March anyway. I was out here by myself, and another little raccoon hand. But I was up here at the end of this. I apologize, I'm getting a little winded. You may not even be able to hear me over the winds that are blowing also. We can go up in here. Yeah, this is interesting. Very mossy. Cut through here. Oh yeah. Something definitely has bedded down here. All the weeds are pushed down there. Oh, another deepening dention, but it's in the moss. Yeah. Where's the Branson? I apologize, my shadow's in the way. But there's a lot of disturbance in the ground around here and here. This almost looks like a little nesting area. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple more photos. Okay, I'm coming back out of here. I'm sorry I stopped filming for a little bit, and not filming, but videoing for a little bit so I could look around in there a little bit and take a few pictures. Yeah, this area has always been a hot spot for me. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the story. Wow. I was out here late one night, and like I said, the waters were up, and I was up on the bank over there. I had an old van, an old Honda Odyssey, and I was sitting up there, and I had my night vision out with me, and down at the end of this little island, I could see two guys on a boat with a spotlight, and they were yelling, making all kind of commotion, and they slowly worked their way up here, shining the spotlight up into these weeds and cypress trees, and they kept floating down here. Like I said, the water, like, that's a bad indication of where the water is at. The water line goes all the way up to here when the dam lets out. So this is where I'm walking, be completely submerged in water. And the boat was down there, and it was working its way slowly up this way, shining a spotlight in here and just causing a big commotion. And you know, I could hear them all the way over to at the road there where I was standing. And they slowly made their way down through here. And as they got right to where it goes around, it goes around here, and the water will be deep enough where a boat can get through when the dam's open. But they got close to over there where I was at, and they started yelling at me. They kept saying, "Turn your lights on, turn your lights on." And so I jumped in the van and turned the headlights on and shined them towards this island, and they were shining a spotlight. And very big mussels. But when I shined the spotlight, I took a picture with my cell phone, and I got what I saw with my eyes does not capture what I caught on camera. But the picture I caught on camera, you can definitely make out the figure, and you can see the arms and the size of the creature compared to the boat and the guys on the boat. But what I saw was about 7 foot tall, maybe 7.5 foot tall, walking upright like a human, covered head to toe in hair, and it was like a brownish red color hair, or dark brown maybe. But it was not quite there yet, but it was running from these guys on the boat. And the guys on the boat continued up through the water here, shining the spotlight and yelling and going on. The guy on the front of the boat was standing up, of course, shining the spotlight. And he was shining it into these weeds over here. And the creature was coming towards me. I was up there on that bank, standing on the road, and I shot a photo of it. And the bad part about them shining the spotlight on it and my headlights from the van hitting it and me taking a picture with my cell phone, it looks like a light. Well, you can tell it's a body. You can see the head, you can see the arms, you can see the legs. You can tell it's twice the size of the guys on the boat, and it's massive compared to the boat. And you can make that out, but it's just like a glow. But you can definitely see it. The pictures are on all my social media sites, on Instagram, on TikTok, if you go to my TikTok, it's in one of my posted videos. I show some of the footprints and the picture of the creature and the face, and it was all from this area here. But right here is exactly the weeds it was running through. It's running through these weeds. It was probably about in here when I took the picture, but it was running towards these weeds, and it ran into here and on through, and the boaters turned around and went back that way, because I guess the creature went into these weeds and went back that way. So they continued on down that way. I never saw those boaters again. You know, they didn't stop, they didn't talk to me. They just yelled for me to turn the lights on. And I did. And where I captured the photo of the face was actually these trees right here. I took a picture with just my cell phone using my night option on my camera, but the creature was in here standing, and the face would have been, like I said, about 6.5 feet off the ground. But and it may not be a face, it may be just an illusion. You could say it could be made with leaves on these trees when they were down, but I captured something that looked like a face. And the time with the boaters, I saw a creature. It was, like I said, it was 7 to 7.5 foot tall, covered in hair, dark brown, or brownish red. And like I said, when the dam's out, this whole area up to that tree line there is covered in water. And this, you know, boats can easily get through right here. And you can't really get over to here. This was, see that bank there is kind of steep. The water will come pretty well up, you know, and over time we've made this little bridge where we can walk across over here. But I'm going to walk back over to the truck and we'll talk a little more once I get back. Okay, we're almost back at the truck. But, I had several other tales out here. I was coming out here and it's been, what am I doing? Okay, the truck. Put you guys back on the tripod. I guess that's not a tripod, it's a phone holder, whatever the hell it is. But like I said, I continue coming to this area often. I still do to this day, as you can tell. But saw a sailboat coming down the river. But I was coming out here, like I said, every night about midnight, and then I would come out here sometimes before daylight, and I come out here to watch the sunrise or whatever. And one morning I came out here to watch the sunrise because it's beautiful. You can see it really, I mean, it's a beautiful sunrise coming out here to watch in the morning. But one morning I was out here, and over there, I heard a big roar, and then I heard, it was definitely a bear. You could definitely hear the bear sounds, but then something sounded like, you know, the bear was definitely fighting with something that sounded like a dinosaur. So, you know, it was definitely fighting with a big creature. And over on this other side, at nighttime, I would walk up and down these roads at night, especially after the sighting, and every single night I'd walk up here, I would hear, well, angle, right down under where those trees are at, I would hear something large walking right down in there every single night that I would come out here. And then I started coming out here more and more often during the day, and it was an odd white church van would sit here, and they'd always carry like a bag of McDonald's or something down in that spot. And you know, and then they would come back up, and sometimes, a couple times I saw them carrying 2x4s down there. And I was wondering, what are they doing? What's up under this road? And I went down there a few times, and you can find a lot of trash down there. So you can definitely tell something stays down there. But I was telling my wife about it, and she was like, oh, you're just imagining stuff. There's nothing that lives down there. I'm like, something lives under this road. And so she decided to come out here with me the next night. And she walked up here, she come running back to me. She says, Michael, you're right, there's something under there. And I've walked down through here, and there is some, down in these woods here, there are some areas that go up under this road. And I don't know if it was, you know, just a homeless person living down there, or a feral. This is the Appalachians, so it could be a feral person or whatever. But something was definitely down. It was lit, making that its home down in there. And then spent a lot of time on the back side of this graveyard, in the woods behind this graveyard, and heard a lot of noises out there. I've never really had any experiences over on this side, but other than the sounding like a dinosaur fighting a bear. But anyway, I'm rambling now. We're back in the truck and driving. And, I hope you guys enjoy these videos. I enjoy making them and going back to some of the locations where I've had experiences and talking about it. And a lot of people may think I'm crazy. I've said it many times, and I'm at the point now where I don't care. You know, I know what I saw. I've heard some very, very, very intelligent people, some very educated people have the same encounters come to me. I've had people that will come to me and talk to me about their encounters because they can't talk to other people because they're afraid that people will think they're crazy. But life is short, and if you experience something, you know, you
you don't have to be afraid to talk to someone. There's people out there to talk to. You know, not just me. There's a lot of us. You know, there's a lot of researchers out there. And the best way to find some of them is listen to some podcasts, like the podcast Bigfoot Society. He's here on YouTube. You can find him on YouTube. And just listen to his podcast, and he'll give a phone number where you can contact him, email him, and he will talk to you either online or in private if that's what you want, just to discuss your encounters. The BFRO, they're probably the main source to report your sightings or occurrences. The Bigfoot Mapping Project, great source. And if you just enjoy watching really good investigative work, you know, follow Hellbent Holler on all platforms, especially here on YouTube. Because here on YouTube, they do probably the best foot on ground research of anybody. You know, Jesse and Dole, they're great people. They're great investigators. You know, I've met them a few times or whatever, and they're the most down to earth people you could ever meet. And they put out some of the best videos on YouTube investigating the paranormal, the Bigfoot, Dogman, you know, and they've got a documentary coming up in a few days. They're working with Small Town Monsters. So, you know, just go check them out. Hellbent Holler. Check out Small Town Monsters. Some of the best documentary work you'll see, and on anything folklore, paranormal. And they're great people also. But there's a lot of resources out there you can find. If you're here in the southeastern United States, there's one of the best Bigfoot museums you could ever visit in northwest Georgia, in the Blue Ridge area, close to the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's called Expedition Bigfoot, and you can report your sightings there. David is a great researcher himself. But yeah, we're just driving on the highway now. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of resources out there that you can talk about and not feel like somebody's going to judge you or think you're crazy. And if you want to contact me, you can. You know, like I said, I'm just an experiencer. You know, and I just started this channel really, and hopefully it'll grow. You know, share it out with your friends, or give me a few likes, give me a few follows. You know, I'm just having fun with this. But I am going to jump off here for now, and I appreciate all you guys for liking. Follow me on any of the other social media. Follow me on here. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.